John Webster's The Duchess of Malfi was published in 1623. At this time in history, emigrants are setting sail for the American colonies in ships like the Mayflower. Those suspected of having supernatural abilities are being accused of witchcraft and killed, whilst ordinary people are going to arenas to watch a chained bear fight off a pack of dogs. 324 years later, Tennessee Williams writes a streetcar named Desire. At this time, the world is in recovery following the Second World War. The atomic bomb has been invented, and nations are competing to develop new nuclear weapons. Homes are filled with electronic appliances such as refrigerators, washing machines, radios, and vacuum cleaners, and ordinary people are going to the cinema to enjoy the latest major motion picture. With centuries between them, it's hard to believe that these plays have much in common. But if you've clicked on this video, chances are you're studying A-level English literature with WJEC Eduqas, and you have to compare these two texts for Section B in your paper on drama. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to write a good comparative essay in this exam, because prioritising comparison really is the key to success in this paper. So without further ado, let's get into it. In this paper, you have 1 hour to write one essay on the Duchess of Malfi and a streetcar named Desire. You will get to pick your question from a selection of 2. You'll be assessed on all 5 assessment objectives. This means that you have to be doing everything. Your essay needs to be clear, well-written, academic in tone, and free of spelling and grammatical errors in order to address AO1. It needs to analyse the way in which the playwrights create meaning through their use of language and dramatic techniques in order to meet AO2. It needs to examine the role played by contextual factors in shaping the plays in order to address AO3. It needs to compare and contrast the 2 texts in order to gain marks for AO4, and it needs to assess alternative interpretations by referring to critical quotations, literary theories, and stage productions in order to address AO5. But one of the most crucial things that you need to know about this exam is that the assessment objectives are not equal in importance. The most important assessment objective is AO4, because there are 20 marks attached to it. The rest of the assessment objectives are only worth 10 marks. So, this means that although you need to address all of the assessment objectives, you ultimately need to prioritise comparative analysis. Comparing the Duchess of Malfi and a streetcar named Desire is the focus of this module, and it should be the focus of your essay too. Comparisons and connections should guide everything. With this in mind, here are some tips to prioritise comparison in your work. Number 1. Revise comparatively. After you've finished reading the 2 plays, making notes as you read, ensure that your revision is comparative. Don't disproportionately focus on one play and neglect the other. Of course, there will be times where you read a critical article on one of the plays, or research the context of a single text, but on the whole, you should be viewing these plays as a set, reading them alongside each other and constantly focusing on the similarities and differences between them. So, the vast majority of your revision should be comparative in nature. One way to revise comparatively is to make a list of key themes that are shared by both plays. Then, select a theme and make notes on commonalities and differences between the plays within this theme. For example, here are some notes that I've made on the shared theme of secrecy and deceit. This example is clearly a very small mind map. Ideally, you should be thinking of many more ideas than this, but it serves to demonstrate how to revise comparatively. The focus of your revision should be on drawing connections between the 2 plays, and creating a mind map like this will help you to do that. Number 2. Discuss both plays in every paragraph of your essay. This is absolutely critical. Don't fall into the trap of devoting 1 paragraph to the Duchess of Malfi, and then 1 paragraph to a streetcar named Desire, and then the next paragraph to the Duchess of Malfi, and so on. An essay that's written in this way may contain some fabulous analysis of the individual plays, but it won't contain enough comparison, and comparison is ultimately worth the most marks in this exam. So, instead, make sure that both plays are discussed in every single paragraph. To do this, make a key similarity or difference between the 2 plays the focus of each paragraph in your essay. So let's return briefly to the revision mind map that I showed earlier, and you'll see that the map draws similarities between the two plays. These similarities, which I've written in blue here, could be the focus of a paragraph in an essay. So you could write a paragraph about how Blanche and the Duchess both hide their sexuality, or you could write a paragraph about how the men in both plays are deeply concerned about the possibility of women keeping secrets from them. From there, you can start to address the other assessment objectives too, as you can pull critical quotations, literary theories, analysis of dialogue, metaphors, symbolism, and theatrical techniques, or an examination of context into your argument. Number 3. Refer to both plays in the first sentence of every paragraph. To prioritise comparison, the first sentence of every paragraph in your essay should present an idea which spans across both plays. An opening sentence could reflect on a key similarity between the plays. For example, both plays suggest that losing possession of the mind is a fate worse than death. Alternatively, you could open a paragraph by drawing attention to a key difference between the two plays. For example, whilst Webster presents madness as a gruesome spectacle, Williams provides a more complex and subtle depiction of mental illness. What matters is that both plays are being discussed from the very first sentence in each paragraph. Try to avoid beginning paragraphs with phrases such as "in a streetcar named Desire" or "in the Duchess of Malfi." These sentences are descriptive rather than analytical, and they don't prioritise comparison. And finally, tip number 4, use comparative language. My final tip is a simple one. Use comparative language throughout your essay. Words such as similarly, by contrast, both, likewise, conversely, whilst, and whereas go a long way in making it clear to an examiner that you're addressing AO4. Similarly, phrases such as both Webster and Williams, in contrast to Webster, Williams, or whilst Webster does X, Williams does Y, help to highlight comparative analysis in your essay. So, to recap, revise comparatively, analyse both plays in every paragraph, begin every paragraph with a sentence that addresses both plays, and use comparative language. These tips will help you to prioritise AO4 in your work and achieve as many of the 20 marks that are available for it as possible. If you found this video useful, take a look at the study guide that I've written for exactly this course. It's called The Duchess of Malfi and a Streetcar Named Desire, a study guide for WJEC Eduqas A-Level English Literature. And here are some lovely reviews that my customers have given it. My guide takes you through absolutely everything that you need in order to ace this exam, with analyses of key themes, advice on how to meet each of the assessment objectives successfully, tips on how to approach an exam question, plan and structure your essay, a full A-star level exemplar answer, and lots more. The link is down in the description if you'd like to take a look. There's also a link to my Patreon page. My patrons get access to this bundle of grade-boosting content, and they also receive personal feedback from me on one piece of written work per month. So go and take a look in the description to sign up and boost your grades today. Finally, if you'd like to see more videos from me, go ahead and click like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.